Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. I hope you are having a blessed day. We are back at it, and I have a couple of things that I would like to talk to you about. Ooh, there's a lot that's in the news right now, um, and I'm going to try to cover most. I'm not going to cover everything, but just a couple of things that I think that's important. So the title of my video today is The Aggressors versus Nobody, because Harry and Meghan are ignoring them, and they actually are. Let's talk about what's positive today. Spare. Spare is still doing wonderfully. This week is at number 4. The book came out, I think it was January the 10th, and is now August 19th, and it's still in the top 5. That is awesome. If you have not picked up the book, or if you have not listened to the audio, I would recommend that you pick it up or listen to the audio because it's fantastic. I enjoyed it. Also, Suits on Netflix and Peacock is still doing well. Remember, in July, it debuted at 3.1 billion views within the first week, breaking records. I mean, there's a new generation that's introduced to the show and they love it. Okay. Meghan left the show in 2018. So she left the show in 2018. They reintroduced a new generation to the show in 2023. And you would think that it was a new show, but it's not. It's an older show. There are only 8 seasons that's on Netflix. I can't tell you why the 9th season is not on Netflix, but I'm sure you can Google it. And if you have not watched the show, let me give you a brief background. It's basically about a fake lawyer who did not go to law school, but somehow was able to wiggle his way to a top firm to become one of the top lawyers. So that's the only background that I'm going to give you because I recommend that you watch it. I think you'll love it. I mean, the cast, you can tell that they had a great time working with each other. And it's obvious when you're looking at the show. What else do we want to talk about? So my faves are doing great, and that's all good. Oh, okay. So William is not doing so great. Prince William there are people who are very upset because the England women's team are going to their first World Cup title since 1966. But get this, Prince William is the FA, the Football Association president, and he's on vacation, and he's not going to be there. But people in the UK believe that if it were men, he would be there. But since they're only women, he is refusing to go. So, in my opinion, as the president, he should be there. I mean, it's been since 1966 was the last time they won, and they made it this far where they are able to win the World Cup title in 2023, and he's not there. He's vacationing. That's not a good look for William. And what I would like to do is let you listen to an audio of people who are complaining. I dubbed this audio from the Jeremy Vine show in the UK. And I'll let you listen to what people have to say. Let's get there. Where is it? Did it not go? Oh, okay. So
If
here we
not
go.
now, then when? When, Raymond?
Raymond, a
reception at the Royal Palace. If I was the girls, I wouldn't attend. I'd snub them. So you couldn't come to see us, so why should we come to see you?
I'm sorry, before we start, the gentleman, his name is Raymond, and he's stating that if Prince William decide not to show up for the World Cup championship, if they invite the team to the palace, he suggests that the lioness, that they snub the palace and not show up. Let me continue.
That'll be interesting to see whether they do. I mean, I'm sure they're not even remotely concerned as to whether Prince William is there or not. Their head will be definitely in the game and focused on that and that alone. But Raymond, thank you very much for your call. Mary from Somerset, what's your thoughts? Does William really have to be there?
Well, I think it would be his duty to be there. But from history, I think when he's been there, he's been very unpopular in Australia. And I know he's not at all popular. Whereas if it had been his brother and his wife, you know, it would have been super. But
well, that's again straying on to a completely different conversation, Mary. And Harry, Harry does his own things. He's got the Invictus Games in his own sporting, just charity, I suppose.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt again. Do you see how they're trying to protect William? So the caller is telling the truth, but then the women on the Jeremy Vine show is protecting William. Like, let's not talk about Harry at this time. We're talking about something different. Continue.
William and Kate are not popular in Australia.
I don't think.
And I think that is why he does not go.
Interesting that you say that, Mary, because there is a bit of contention there in Australia with the royal family, but is it as negative as we think it is, or are there a lot more royalists in Australia than perhaps we see?
Even if there aren't, I mean, this is a good thing. This will go away and mending those sour relations, if there are sour, as Mary is claiming. But they can't do any harm.
The royalists are a dying breed, because it's a hangover from when so many British people emigrated to Australia. And that kind of generation is dying off now.
But as Esther says, this would be a great opportunity, surely, for William to actually boost his popularity over there.
You would imagine so. But they're tone deaf. I mean, you only have to compare William and Kate's visit to the Caribbean last year, which was completely tone deaf.
Maybe why he's put off going so far into areas where the royal family may not be as popular. Sean from Durham, do you think?
If not,
so they're trying to give the excuse that William, he's decided not to go because Australia is too far. Australia is where they're holding the World Cup. And since William is supposedly eco-friendly because he's got the Earth, I call it the Earth Flop Prize that he just put together about 2 years ago. He's deciding not to go because he would have to jet to Australia, and it's going to be a one-day trip, and then he'll have to jet back to wherever he's vacationing, and that's his reason for not going. But the callers are saying that they believe that he's not going because he's not popular in Australia. They don't like William and Kate in Australia. So by flying to Australia, he's not going to get the PR shots that will make him look good. So instead of being there for the team as the president, he has chosen not to go because, he doesn't want to look bad. So it's all about him. Now, mind you, you all might not know, but William, I think it was earlier this year, or was it late last year? William him and Kate flew to Boston in America for the Earthshot Prize. And it was all PR. Now, the Earthshot Prize or the Earthshot, whatever it is, let me explain it. It's basically about making the world better and doing whatever is best for the world and trying to get rid of pollution and things like that. And what happens is there are different people in the world who are doing great things for the world, and they win the Earthshot Prize according to their inventions. So William and Kate flew to Boston, did not fly the people who won the Earthshot prize to Boston, but flew celebrities to Boston. It was all PR because he wanted it to be this grand thing. And he looked like a total fool. We still don't know to this day who won the Earthshot prize, but we knew that there were celebrities there. We knew that William and Kate, they took a lot of pictures and they were in the paper, but the actual winners, the people who are actually doing things out there for the world, we still don't know who they are. But yet, William and Kate was able to fly to Boston, but they are unable to fly to Australia. And William is the president over the team. Yeah, that's a reason to be upset. I can see why they're upset, because William is not going to do anything if it's not going to make him look good. Okay. So moving right along from that disaster, let's get to something happy briefly. So the Heart of Invictus is going to be premiering on Netflix August 30th. And it's going to be huge because you're going to watch it, right? You are going to subscribe to Netflix if you're not already subscribed, and you are going to watch the Heart of Invictus because you are going to support injured soldiers who are out there battling and having a good time in the world of sports, right? Yes, that's what you're going to do. But there are people who have mixed emotions. There are haters, of course, because they know that this is going to be huge for Harry and Meghan. So they are going to try. They already have. The wheel is spinning. They are already spinning the story. Okay. And I'm going to let you listen to a couple of rats, gutter rats, who are putting their 2 cents in to make this wonderful thing a bad thing. Okay. Starting with Dan Wootton, who is still working at GB News. And I'm going to get into that. The reason why, if this is your first time listening to my channel or my video, and if you don't know too much about him, I'm going to get into that later on. He should not be working. And that woman that's sitting in front of him, Angela Levin, she only comes out when they want her to smear Meghan. She monetized from hating Meghan, but she supposedly loves Harry. Okay. She's always saying positive things about Harry, but she can't stand Meghan because she thinks Meghan is this voodoo black woman who got voodoo over Harry and is just taking over his life because Harry is this little boy who can't control himself, and she's this evil black woman who is just manipulating him with sex and all these different tropes, these old tropes that they have about black or biracial black women. So I'll let you listen to what she had to say. So it's going to start off, the video is going to start off with the Invictus trailer, and then it's going to go into Dan Wootton interviewing her, and she's going to be who she is. Let's get into it.
And tonight, Prince Harry released a powerful trailer for a new Netflix documentary called The Heart of Invictus, in a remarkable change of course from his previous collaborations with the company. The Duke, who is preparing for his Invictus Games brainchild to kick off its latest edition next month, can be seen in the teaser, telling viewers how veterans can learn to be part of a community again. Watch.
It is here at the Invictus Games that you realise, whatever you carry, it was the springboard that propelled you to the next level. If your goal was to make your country proud, you've done it. If your goal was to make your family happy, you've achieved it. You are people of substance, of resilience, of strength. You have the heart of Invictus.
So, I mean, Angela Levin, this is the Prince Harry that we've probably been wanting to see for a very long time. The Invictus Games is unquestionably a brilliant project, and that looks like a really powerful film.
Yes, I felt very moved when I saw the, thing of just advertising it, because when I went round with him in 2017 and we'd see lots of soldiers and where they were staying to try and get them better, he was absolutely superb. He gave them enormous courage. And he said, if you're healing, we all need healing. Don't worry, it'll come. The family will be fine with you. The country will be so proud of you.
So this was Harry at his best.
Yes, this was Harry at his best. Incredibly.
Okay, let me stop right there. So Angela Levin is stating that she met with Harry in 2017. And when she met with him, he was at his best. And, he was this happy-go-lucky type of guy, and once he met Meghan, he turned into a different person. But let me give you a brief background. Harry stated that he only met with Angela Levin maybe less than 30 minutes, and that small time that he spent with her, that woman wrote a book about him, an autobiography book about him. And if you let her tell you, she would say that she traveled the world with him for 15 months. Now, she was probably one of the reporters probably traveling the world, but he only talked to her less than 30 minutes. Let's continue.
Positive, but very subtle. He never asked anything too personal. He was just really there for them, and he made jokes, and he was absolutely wonderful. And I would talk to these guys after he moved on to the next one, and some of them say, I've been in a room with the curtains closed. I haven't done a thing. I haven't wanted to go here because I don't think I'm worth anything. I was very strong. Now I'm weak. He said, he's made me feel I want to live again. And this was said in various different ways to at least 20 people who'd served in the army who were badly physically wounded or mentally. So I couldn't believe that this was that Harry again. I mean, it was very touching and moving.
What is quite interesting, though, when they were filming this documentary, the cameras followed him and Meghan around everywhere. There were lots of behind-the-scenes shots going on at the previous Invictus Games. She doesn't feature once in the trailer. We obviously don't know if she's been dropped from the show itself, but do you think that's a significant decision?
I think it's...
Okay, so I'm sorry. Let me interject again. So now they're bringing in Meghan, stating that from this short, maybe 30 seconds trailer, Meghan was not in the trailer. So they're saying that since Meghan was not in this short trailer, that Meghan was dropped from the show. We all know that the Invictus is Harry's baby. Meghan was there last year in The Hague when they were recording or videotaping the show. But I'll let you guys continue to listen.
It's a very significant decision, and I think they didn't want Meghan to take the show because once she's there, she has to be in the front line. But what is said is that she is going to it. She might not stay the whole week.
But it feels like professionally they're moving in separate directions at the moment, doesn't it? And this is another example.
Well, yeah. I mean, I said that to you. I think they're further and further away. But actually, Harry now seems to be much happier, much stronger. And actually, the things he said he wanted to talk to about the invalids are coming better, I felt actually was for himself, that he can be stronger. And I did ask him a very difficult question to say, what can I ask you about? Difficult question. And he said, all right. And I said, when you go and see these soldiers who've had terrible experiences and they've been scared and they want to build up again, do you feel that you're also helping yourself with that? It's therapy for you. And he paused for at least a minute. I thought I'd be thrown out of Kensington Palace where I did it. And then he said, yes, absolutely. I feel it. It helps me to heal as well.
Wow.
So from this little short trailer, they got that Harry and Meghan are growing further apart. And because they're growing further apart, according to Angela Levin and Dan Wootton, Harry is so much happier because you can see it in the trailer. Harry is so happy not to be around Meghan. And according to this trailer, they cut Meghan out. And Meghan is doing her own thing. And Harry is back to his old self because, you know, according to them, and I'm not talking about this particular audio, I'm talking about what they're saying in the UK. Harry and Meghan are separating, they're divorcing, and they are no longer together. And Dan Wootton and Angela Levin are very happy because they see a new Harry. Harry is so happy that he's no longer with Meghan, which are all lies, because Harry and Meghan, they don't communicate with them. They don't know anything about Harry and Meghan. They don't know what's going on with them. This is all projection. These are lies. They're all lies. Let's continue.
That's quite interesting, actually, whether that will come over with it. I got the feeling, seeing those trailers, that it would. And I hope it does, because perhaps he can see through lots of things that he didn't want to see through before, and he will move forward. But she's so powerful over him.
Well, what's been interesting,
difficult.
though, she is also wanting to be seen on her own, because we saw this social media picture of her posted this week with her hairdresser Katie Lee and the author Cleo Wade having a great time. There they are. So
I think that's such a nonsense. I think that's very childlike, that because Harry was in pictures...
having fun with his best mate.
Yeah, but you don't have to come out and compete with that. She doesn't want him to get any more attention than she does. She's used to him now walking behind her like a servant. So I think that's what that is. It's got nothing to do with, actually, I'm having a lovely time. She's got to be in the centre stage. Who cares who she sees on a day? All women go out and see their friends. You meet your friends. You know, it's just, it's pathetic.
So Harry was in Japan. He was promoting Senta Ballet. He was at a polo club, and he was also on a panel, and he was out there with his good friend Nacho, and they were doing their thing. A picture was released by Meghan's hairdresser, Katie. I can't remember her last name, with them just hugging. And you know, the friend released the picture on Instagram. And once the UK found out about it, they wrote numerous articles about that one picture. They even looked into her friend's background, researching about them. It's the UK who are spinning the story. It's the UK who are smearing Harry and Meghan. You rarely see Meghan, ever. You see more of Harry promoting Spare and promoting the Invictus Games and whatever, and doing interviews. You hardly ever see Meghan. So whenever the paps come out and they snap pictures of Meghan, it's Meghan's fault. Meghan called the paps to come out and snap a picture of her going to farmer's market or walking out of the dentist's office. If Meghan's friend released a picture with them hugging on Meghan's birthday, Meghan was not supposed to release that picture on her birthday because she's trying to overpower Harry. She always has to be in the front. She always has to overpower her husband. Meghan is 42. Harry is 38 years old. They are a married couple. People should not even be in their business when it comes to their marriage. That doesn't have anything to do with Angela Levin or Dan Wootton. That is their marriage. If Harry wants his wife to be in the forefront, that's his marriage. That's his wife. Stay out of it. I don't understand where they get off thinking that Harry is this wee little boy who can't take care of himself, and this aggressive voodoo biracial Black American woman is just she just whipped him with sex and took over his mind, and now he can't even think the same anymore, and she's just overpowering him. That's racism. Those are tropes, and they're also lies, and they need to stop. And this has been going on ever since 2017, when Harry let the world know that he was dating Meghan, and Angela Levin has been at the forefront, slanging mud and lying. And this is how she's able to pay her bills. Every time you see her, she is talking negatively about Meghan and making Harry out to be this wee little boy who can't protect himself over this manipulative, voodoo, black spiritual sexual woman. It's crazy. I can't believe that it's allowed to continue in the UK. And then this was on the 17th when they had the interview on GB News. And then you get all these articles here from GB News. Meghan Markle pictured without her 156 pound engagement ring as Duchess and Prince Harry spend time apart. They're talking about when Harry was in Japan and Meghan was celebrating her hanging out with her friends. And supposedly she was also at a Taylor Swift concert, although there were no pictures, but that's another story. And then they have another. If we do, in fact, find out that Prince Harry lied on his visa application, this bill would prohibit him from being able to stay in the United States. The U.S. Congressman, Greg, whatever his last name is, tells Dan Wootton about his intentions to introduce the Spare Act visa transparency, where they are trying to separate a married couple. They do not want Prince Harry with his wife. This is crazy. And that's the reason why I have this platform, because I want people to know what's going on. People who don't really pay attention to what's going on. This is what I see daily in the UK. Daily, multiple articles. And it doesn't stop there. Now, Dan Wootton interviewed Angela Levin, and he also interviewed this lady called Lady C, who's also monetizing off the backs of Harry and Meghan, mostly Meghan. And when she's talking about Meghan, she's dragging her and she's lying and she's making her out to be this voodoo black woman who sexualized and manipulating Harry, and she was a nobody and she's a social climber. And it's just, I'll let you listen to what this hag has to say about Meghan.
And this week, Meghan Markle was pictured alongside friend and wellness entrepreneur Katie Lee. And according to a fascinating expose in the Sun newspaper, the Sussexes are spending more.
Now, mind you, they are still talking about that freaking picture that her friend put out with them hugging, where she was wishing her Meghan a happy birthday. They are still talking about that freaking picture.
More and more time with these kind of health-conscious hotshots. 3 years after buying their £11 million mansion, Harry and Meghan reportedly spending less time with the A-list names that attended their wedding, like Posh and Bex, but instead getting closer with local neighbours dubbed the Montecito Mafia. A local source told the newspaper Meghan's friends are very much into the Gwyneth Paltrow-style wellness fads. So, Lady Colin Campbell, does this imply the Duchess is fully focusing on the relaunch of her lifestyle blog, The Tig, or is this simply because the big A-listers from California and Hollywood and also the UK have turned on them?
Well, Dan, I think you're right with the latter, and therefore she has to now associate with the former. I have seen it time and again with people who were of some eminence, usually people of very grand stature, who were born grand, who were perfect jerks, and who ultimately their own kind spurned them, and they always end up with employees or with staff or with people who they have to pay somehow. You know, she has been spurned by all A-listers, and now she has to associate with people who she's scratching around trying to make some money with. And
now, mind you, these are people who live in the UK. Harry and Meghan live in Montecito, California. Okay, they're clear across the water. They have no idea what's going on with Harry and Meghan. None whatsoever. But yet, they are on TV spreading lies about Meghan and who she is associating with. No one knows who she associates with. And if they knew, why do they care? Why do they care what's going on with Meghan? Why do they care who her friends are? Why do they care what she's wearing? Why do they care when her friend when her friend releases a picture? Why do they care? Why are they so obsessed with this woman? Why do they investigate everything and try to figure out everything about her? Why everything when there's something positive that comes out, they start saying negative things, and they're all lies. Why?
remember, before Meghan met and married Harry, she was an influencer, quote unquote, with the TIG, and before that, the working girl. And now she's back to square one. So after everything, she's back to square one. And this time there's no prospect of cultivating the A-list, because the A-list aren't interested in having anything to do with her anymore.
Yeah, indeed. And Phil, I have to say,
now, mind you, Lady C, she's also a quote unquote influencer who has nothing but a YouTube channel that's all about Meghan, and they're all lies. Every day she's putting out videos about Meghan, and she lives in the UK. Meghan lives in California, in America. She knows nothing. Meghan knows nothing about this woman. Has never met Meghan. Never. She doesn't know any of her friends. But yet she can sit on a panel on the UK news, their media, and spread lies. And people are actually sitting down and they're listening to this. They're believing the lies that she's spewing. It's disgusting. And it's weird. It's very strange. And then we have a story by Ben Chapman, this Tom Bauer, whatever his name is, who wrote a book about Harry and Meghan. Supposedly it was about the royal family, but everything is focused on Harry and Meghan. Has never met Harry, has never met Meghan, but wrote a book about them. He says Harry has never been properly educated. He had terrible A-levels. He told Dan Wootton. This is what this autobiographer told Dan Wootton. Remember, he's never met Harry. He's never met Meghan. He doesn't know any of their friends or anybody that they socialize with. Okay. He has never understood education, whereas Meghan worked really hard and got into a college. So there's is bound to be a clash. So they're basically saying there's a clash between Harry and Meghan's marriage. They're not getting along. Okay. I think recent photographs have shown Meghan is happy without Harry and Harry is happy without Meghan. So what is going to happen when they get back together? Who said that they were broken up? There's a clash of culture, a clash of interests, but they will have to one way or another reconcile it. No one said that they broke. Their marriage is in trouble. The only people who are saying this are Angela Levin, Lady C, Dan Wootton, and people like that. They go on a panel, they discuss this among one another, and then they write articles and they put it out there, and then people believe the lies that they're putting out there. And I'm going to say it again. That is why I am here to let you know that they are lies. Just like Harry and Meghan said, the UK media do not report the news. They create the news. They create the news. Now look at the articles from GB News. Now we're still on the 17th. These are totally different articles. Meghan Markle blasted over childhood-like public appearance as Duchess competes with Prince Harry. Now this is an article. Now remember, it was Angela Levin who said that. Now there's an article written in probably the Daily Mail, the Sun, or whatever UK media, and they're putting it out there as if, it's the truth. But it's not the truth. Another man, I feel quite sorry for Harry. I see a man that is lost within the empire that his wife has built. What? Prince Harry and Archie could attend major royal family event as Meghan Markle and Lilibet stay in the U.S. So, as you can see, they're doing everything in their power to separate this couple. They do not want Harry with his wife. They would rather strip him of his security. They would rather have them out there in danger. They're doing everything to make Harry wave that white flag, leave his family and his children, and go back to England. I've never seen anything like this in my life. But guess what? Harry and Meghan are ignoring the haters, and they're still moving right along, and they're still doing their thing. They're making their money. They're having a good time. And Invictus Games is going to be next month in September, and it's going to be all good. And I hope they televise it. So the Invictus Games is next month between the 9th and the 16th, and is going to be held in Dusseldorf, Germany. And I know Harry and Meghan are very happy about this event because Harry has worked very hard since he's put this together to get it to where it is now. And they are afraid in the UK. They are frightened by the achievements that Harry and Meghan are making. They are so afraid that they have sided with I hope I don't get in trouble by saying this because you know how YouTube is, with the Taliban. So if you have not picked up Spare, there is a section where Harry is talking about his time when he was in Afghanistan and how he was taught to battle. He said, he made a comment about, he was taught that whenever you're out there on the line, you can't look at the people that you're against as human. You have to go out, and because you in a war, what are you doing? You're killing one another, right? So he brought that up, and he made a statement about how bad he felt, but as a soldier, you have to do what you have to do to protect your country. But yet the UK media blew that section up in his book and made it worse and spinned it and made it look as if Harry was saying something negative when he wasn't. He was talking about the Taliban. And the UK media, believe it or not, was like, oh, how dare Harry say something about the Taliban like that? That is just terrible. Why would he say something about those poor people? And now I want you to listen to what they had to say about that.
Remember back to the foundation of the Invictus Games in 2014, Prince Harry, having served 2 tours of Afghanistan, founded the Games really to give wounded veterans a purpose again and really help them with their rehabilitation. At the time, everyone loved Prince Harry. The opinion polls on him were sky high, perhaps even slightly more than Prince William. Now, of course, totally different story, isn't it? He's no longer a working member of the royal family, moved to America, and the rest of it. I think this is perhaps a sense, the sense that I'm getting is that they're trying to change the narrative, Prince Harry and his PR team. We have had the complaining about members of the royal family and the book spare, and this is him really trying to get back to perhaps the old Prince Harry, and that's what
Wait, look, I'm sorry, I need to stop this. How is Harry trying to change the narrative? He was a soldier in Afghanistan. They were fighting against the Taliban. How is he trying to change the narrative? Like I said, because they hate Harry. No, they don't hate Harry. Let me change that. Because they hate that Harry is married to Meghan so much and Harry left the UK and moved to America, they are doing everything in their power to smear him. And if it's get to the point where it's his demise, they will go to that level, because that is how much hate they have for this marriage between Harry and Meghan.
I'm getting here. Of course, I think from a trailer, if we do have clips of a trailer, but we can see that there's a big focus on the athletes rather than Prince Harry himself. He only appears in about 20 seconds of it. And if you remember to pictures back in last year at the Invictus Games in the Netherlands, there was a Netflix camera crew following both Harry and Meghan around all the time. So in this 5 parts, 1 hour long each episode documentary series, perhaps we will see some of that footage come to light. But the big question for me is, this trailer focuses, as I said, on the athletes and Prince Harry. There is not one single shot of Meghan, and I'm not sure what that's telling us yet.
Do we read much into that? Because it was Harry that founded the Games in 2014. You know, Meghan was nowhere to be seen at that time. Why would she appear in it?
She wasn't, because we have seen footage of her being filmed by the Netflix camera crew at the Invictus Games. Perhaps she's only in one episode. You might well be right, of course. The focus is very much on Prince Harry and very much on the Invictus Games and the athletes, and perhaps the producers didn't see it fit that Meghan would appear in the trailer. Perhaps it would have detracted from the main point of the Invictus Games and the documentary, but it's playing into this narrative, perhaps, for some of Harry and Meghan's critics, that they're very much going their separate ways in terms of their media engagement.
It's an interesting one, Cameron, because Harry has become very divisive, even within the veterans and the forces community itself. I spoke to a couple of vets this morning, and they say some of them think, well, he'll always be one of ours. He did 2 tours, good on him. But others are saying his Taliban revelations in Spare betrayed that kind of code, that band of brothers ethic, putting other lives in danger. So I guess my bigger question to you, Cameron, is historically Harry's involvement was magic dust to things like this, but is Harry's reputation and public image now actually going to be a barrier to ordinary people watching this, which would be a dreadful shame?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that he got a lot of criticism from the comments he made in his book about killing members of the Taliban. Prince Harry's statement...
I don't even want to further that. Did you see what I'm talking about? This is all GB News. All the audio that I'm letting you hear, it's coming from GB News, where Dan Wootton works. This and it's all focused on Harry and Meghan and their marriage and this new trailer, or this new docu series that's coming out, The Heart of Invictus, that should be focused on the wounded veterans. But of course, they have to cause this drama around the docu-series before it's released. And of course, they have to talk about Meghan and how they're separating and how their marriage is not doing well. And it's just, I've never seen anything like this in my life. Now, politicians in America, yes, I see how they go back and forth, and they're throwing mud at one another, and it's all in the tabloids. But Meghan is not a politician. Meghan, she married a prince, in the UK. They didn't want them there. They told them to leave the UK. So Harry and Meghan, they packed up their things and their baby, and they left. And they've been in the news every day. I mean, multiple articles. I keep saying that, but it's the truth. And they talk about them every single day. And whenever they talk about them, if it's something positive, it's always going to be a negative. And it's always with them saying that they're hoping Harry leaves Meghan because Meghan is over. It's just crazy. It's crazy. If you guys are overwhelmed with all of this, and then they go after that, they go and write an article about what they talked about, and then they put that in the Sun or Daily Fail or Daily Express or whatever UK media that are tabloid that's out there, because then they're letting the audience believe that what they talked about is true because they got it from a source, and the source, they are the sources. It's unbelievable. And then there's more articles, and this is between the 17th and the 18th. More slander, GB News. It's unbelievable. It's how many articles have I shown you? 4, 8, 12 articles. One news source. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. And that is the reason why the man named Dan Wootton is still working for that organization, because they are all gutter rats. All of them. They're all gutter rats. Now, let's focus on Dan Wootton. Let's get back to Byline Times investigation has been investigating this man for 3 years. Dan Wootton is the person who's doing the interviews. It is a sex scandal where he lied and said that his name was Martin Branning, and then he disguised himself as a woman on social media, and he got heterosexual men to send him videos of them having sex, and he would pay them for their videos. And he also manipulated the minds of governors, politicians, and celebrities in the UK. He got videos on them, nasty videos. So there are a lot of people who are compromised. So there was, like I said, a 3-year investigation by Byline Times, and I think this is like the 8th or 9th article that's been written about it, but no one is talking about it in the UK. The only thing they're talking about is Harry and Meghan, while this man is still working. And then Byline Times has shown proof that Dan Wootton was an aggressor. Rupert Murdoch had to get rid of, or 6 people left the Sun when Dan Wootton was there, because Dan Wootton was harassing them sexually or saying inappropriate things to them. So from what I've read, Rupert Murdoch paid them a high, I think it was 5 or 6 figure to get rid of them, but kept the aggressor. So let's get to this article. The media scandal the media didn't want to touch. Byline Times will keep exposing the dark forces in the shadows. This particular article was written August 18th by Hardeep Matharu. I hope I said his name correctly. So, where is it going? Okay, so let me get into it. Exposing the Dan Wootton scandal was a long time in the making. The TV presenter's behavior, like so much else, had been an open secret in the established media for some years. But unlike other big names in his profession, the press wasn't willing to go near this story. And it still isn't. Why? And I ask the same question. Why? The reaction to our revelations about Wootton's catfishing tactics, which he is used to trick and bribe men into providing sexually compromising material, has reaffirmed to me why Byline Times was so badly needed. Without fear or favor, and funded by our readers for us, this investigation has never been about personalities or politics, score settling, or our own private interests. It's about the forces that shape us, including one of the most powerful, the established media, which is at this time, GB News. The people that you just heard from, GB News, where Dan Wootton is working, that is a force to be reckoned with in the UK. So, how does wrongdoing thrive in institutions that set themselves up as society's moral arbiters? And what are the structural and political factors that explain why these moral arbiters refuse to hold themselves to account? Why has Dan Wootton's scandal been published by a small independent reader-funded newspaper at our own considerable risk when major media outlets have the resources and reach at their disposal for exactly this sort of work? These are questions we all need to ask. Wootton's career has taken him inside the newsroom of the country's most powerful tabloids and given him privileged access to celebrity, monarchy, and scandal. It is in the public interest to expose how he has used this power and influence and how his behavior has impacted the individuals he targeted, as well as contributing to a wider toxic media culture. Basically, what you just saw in this video. But while Byline Times investigation has received coverage by some mainstream outlets, they are yet to delve very much deeper into the story themselves. Private praise from surprising quarters and plaudits behind closed doors have come our way for finally lifting the lid on the secret scandal, but publicly, the response has been muted. Now they're muted about this story, but yet they are talking about Harry and Meghan every single day. In part, legal threats will have had a chilling effect. Wootton denies any allegations of criminality and follows the publication of the first part of our investigation. His representative wrote to a member of outlet condemning our work while offering no denial that he created the identities of Martin Branning or Maria Joseph to pursue his antics online. Although Wootton dismissed us as a hard left blog and launched a crowdfunder to supposedly take legal action against Byline Times, a parliamentary committee has demanded answers from his former employer, The Sun, which has launched an investigation with legal counsel. And Mail Online has suspended his lucrative column pending its own inquiries. Let me tell you something. They're not looking into this. They are hoping Byline Times just stop because, they're letting Byline Times know at this time, we're not going to do anything. GB News is going to continue. Dan Wootton is going to continue. And if you continue to write these articles about them, we are going to come after you. That is how powerful Dan Wootton is at this time, that the entire UK establishment, media, government, and royal family is protecting him. But they're allowing the media to sling mud and lies and dirt and anything that they have at Harry and Meghan. As Byline Times co-founder and executive editor Peter Jukes observed in this month's print edition, there is a key problem with the proprietors and the senior executives of other news organizations when it comes to covering the Wootton story. They are either historically complicit, scared of what information the former Sun and Mail Online columnists might still hold on them, or worried about their future working relationships with Wootton and his current employers, GB News. And so we have the silence of the lambs. But legal threats are just one of the obstacles we have faced. In the days after publishing our first article, an email hack attack was made on one of our reporters, while the other had what appeared to be blood smeared on his car window. Menacing calls and emails followed, now being pursued by the police, which the police is involved in all of this too, so they're not going to do anything about that. The physical threats started after Wootton used his nightly GB News show, on which he continues to enjoy platform, to denounce Byline Times' work as a quote unquote dark forces trying to outdo him. For these are the base instincts outlets such as GB News and Mail Online and Sun, and journalists like himself regularly feed. The endless headlines and sound bites declaring the latest enemy other seek to exploit the shadows that lie within us all, the worst instincts we're all capable of succumbing to. Wootton's story, then, is both personal and political. Psychologically, it evokes issues of identity and self-knowledge, of the way we all have different characteristics and personas, and how they can clash and split apart in sometimes dangerous ways if they do not speak to each other and integrate. But the personal soon becomes political in a media system that preys on our psychological weaknesses and obsessions, which seek to confuse and compel rather than clarify and resolve. As Rupert Murdoch once said, any newspaper that seek to do that can be a great, powerful evil, in which they are. They are a great, powerful evil because they are manipulating the minds of the masses, not only in the UK, but in the US also, because you have to remember, Rupert Murdoch is the CEO of Fox News here in America. And we are also reading the Daily Mail, the Daily Sun here in America also. So you have to be vigilant of what you're reading online, because you don't know where the information is coming from. Let me continue. Attacking Byline Times as a dark forces may have opened us up to threats, but it also threw light on a much bigger shadow we must all grapple with. This newspaper will continue to help our readers to do so. Our special Media 2 investigation is ongoing. Thank you, Byline Times. Don't give up. Thank you all. Thank to you all, our subscribers and readers, for your support so far. And to Dan Evans and Tom Lacham, whose work on this story shows how investigative journalism at its very best can be used to shine a light on those dark places and show the shadows for what they are. So that's basically what my video is about. I wanted to introduce you, if you do not know anything about GB News, what GB News is about. GB News is basically like Fox News. The tabloids, The Sun, Page 6, TMZ, okay? These are all the things that we're reading in America, and we're taking it as the gospel truth. But most of you don't know that that information is coming from the British media, and we're taking that stuff in. We're believing it. So before I sign off, I just want you to understand that the UK media is doing everything in their power for the Americans to turn against Harry and Meghan, everything in their power, while protecting the aggressors by spitting out multiple articles daily. Because if you continue to read it, you will eventually start believing it. And I hope that this video will enlighten you. And I know I was stuttering and my voice was a little aggressive, but I'm passionate about this. I've never seen anything like this before in my life. And I'm going to continue to talk about it and continue to support Harry and Meghan. And whenever I see something that's not that I know it's a lie, I'm going to put it out there. So until then, after all of that, I know. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. And if my video is causing, anxiety or stress, because I know that it was kind of heavy, I'm sorry. Meditate, sip tea, or do whatever you feel that will help you calm down and come to a peaceful place. And until then, peace. If you like the video, like, share, or subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you on my next video. Have a good day.